Hey, welcome to World Entertainment. Do you remember Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D? Do you remember the character of Skye, who then of course became Quake? Well, Chloe Bennet, who of course played said character, is now hinting at the possibility of her MCU return. Now, everybody of course is jumping onto, oh, is she talking about in Doomsday or Secret Wars? Kinda, but not really. She's just hinting at her possible return to the franchise. But she also seems to take a shot at Secret Invasion, which is funny as well. But we're going to have a look at this because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is strange because it started off very much a part of the MCU until about season 3 when they decided, oh, it's not canon anymore. We're going to lightly kind of link things that happen in the movies, but it's not going to be a part of that universe anymore. And it was like weird and confusing, and nobody was quite sure what was happening, especially when they would reference things at some stage and wouldn't mention bigger things. It was weird. But anyway, let's have a look at this. So it's saying, love or hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's no denying that the show included heaps of memorable moments and characters worthy of an appearance in the wider MCU. Chloe Bennet's Quake falls into that latter category, and while her journey from being Skye to Daisy Johnson was undeniably convoluted, she's someone fans are eager to see on screen again. Rumours about a potential return have swirled for years, with Bennett both teasing and denying her involvement with the MCU on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, despite claims that Marvel Studios is bringing her back, the latest update from the actor isn't an overly positive one. Talking at Dragon Con, Bennett told fans, "I'm not playing a bit. This isn't a joke. I don't know anything. They haven't asked me." She added, "Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't considered canon, but I agreed that I should have been in Secret Invasion. It probably would have been better." Shots fired. So the series initially received good reviews based on the first 2 episodes offered to critics, but when they and fans got to see the remainder of the season, the tide turned. It now sits at a rotten 53%. The debate about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.'s canon status continues. Several MCU projects have contradicted the events of the series, and while early seasons were closely tied to the movies, that changed as time went on. By the way, the thing they're talking about up there saying the tides had turned and fans and critics ended up hating it, that was Secret Invasion they were talking about, not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The comic book Quake has ties to teams like the Secret Warriors and even the Avengers, so who knows if she'll be utilised by Marvel Studios if and when this supposed return happens. As noted, Bennett was introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a newly created character called Skye. However, as the series progressed, we learned that she was in fact Daisy Johnson. As an Inhuman, Skye eventually gained superpowers and, like her comic book counterpart, became the superhero known as Quake. And it goes on, kind of just talks about when she was Quake and stuff. Now, again, it is confusing, the whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because, like, the first 2 seasons were incredibly connected to the MCU. Like, Nick Fury showed up, Sam Jackson showed up, and it was the first thing that really indicated, oh, he survived the events of the Winter Soldier, because he was meant to be killed off in that, and then he appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to hand over control of S.H.I.E.L.D. to Coulson. That's what happened there. Then, of course, the events of each movie, like a movie would come out and the next episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be the aftermath of said movie, such as for the Dark World, with the ship that kind of crashes in, I believe it, isn't it, in London or wherever it was, the villain ship like ran aground and all that crap. That movie came out the week later. The new episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, and it was them at that site cleaning up that damaged ship and taking all the technology and stuff, so normal people couldn't get it. There was constant stuff like that, which also was annoying, because if you didn't get around to go and see the movie, the show spoiled the movie, because it was like, okay, I'll see that movie next week, and then you watch S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's like, oh, you've just shown me the aftermath of the movie. Great, fantastic, why did you do that? And they kept doing it, and I think that's why they started to kind of remove it away from the movies. They were kind of like, yeah, people are starting to get a bit too pissed off with this, that if they're not getting the chance to get around to see the movie quick enough, S.H.I.E.L.D. is spoiling it on them. And S.H.I.E.L.D. did start off quite slow as well. I myself, well, I remember watching it, and by the time we were getting to episode 4, it's like, right, if this episode doesn't have anything worth watching, I'm done with this. And it did. I believe it was either the 4th or 5th episode in the first season where they introduced, were they called serpent? No, not the serpents. Centipede, I think they were called. And it was the guy, he had that thing that attached to his back. I think it was his back. It was either his back or his arm. And it gave him the powers. And that was the first time really in the show they actually had people with powers in it. And from there, the story seemed to kind of get more into the actual MCU style of storytelling, which, of course, back then was good. That's when the MCU was healthy and doing really well. But it was one of those, like, okay, I'm only giving you this far. If you don't catch me by then, I'm done. And it did catch you. And then later on, you know, I'm not sure what season it was where it did start kind of getting a bit weird. It got really weird when they ended up in that, like, parallel universe almost, where Earth was destroyed and they were on an alien ship trying to get back to Earth, and it turns out Quake herself is the reason the Earth was... From there, it got really bizarre and a bit difficult to kind of follow. It was kind of like all over the place. But the first few seasons were really decent. And I did always like Chloe Bennet in the role. I did think she was great in the role. And it was weird because Coulson was still showing up in the movies, and you were wondering, well, where's the likes of Skye and the rest of them with him? Well, you know, how come none of them show up? Which was strange, but she is teasing a possible return. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be in a Doomsday or Secret Wars. She could be possibly hinting at maybe she's heard in the grapevine that maybe they're looking to do a new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe that is what she could be teasing all the time. And that's why she's kind of teasing that she's coming back, but then denies that she's coming back, because maybe it's like she hears, hey, they're thinking of doing a new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with you guys, and she kind of teases then, oh, I could be coming back, and then they've changed direction, they've gone in this direction here, maybe that's where then she denies. I don't know. Either way, at this stage, I think it would be a mistake for her to come back, because it's not in a good place. You know, it's a disaster right now with Marvel, and if she was to be brought back in right now and her name got dropped, oh, Skye's coming back, Quake, are you excited? People are going to go, oh great, another girl boss is being brought back. So I don't think now is the best of time. I don't think at this stage there'll be any time that'll be decent to come back, unless, of course, you put this stuff to bed and let it rest for quite a long time and then try and bring it back. But at this stage, I don't particularly see her coming back. I think she's teasing. I do like that she took a shot at Secret War to try and say, you know, you put me in there, probably been better. I think that's funny. But overall, what do you guys think? Would you like to see her back as Skye / Daisy Johnson / Quake? Do you care if she was coming back? Would you like to see the rest of the S.H.I.E.L.D. gang back? And did you watch S.H.I.E.L.D.? What did you think of that? Do let us know what you think of this idea. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.